turn around and look how high we've just climbed right now. We've actually climbed quite a great height, which makes it a bit more understandable when I tell you that this isn't a 4-story building, it's actually a 7-story building, okay? Just due to this incredible topography that we have in Edinburgh. You don't have access to the full area of this building, but you do have access to a regimental museum on the left-hand side dedicated to the Royal Scotch Dragoons. If you're interested in that regiment, the oldest infantry in the UK, it's quite a fascinating look and will take you no longer than 10 minutes to view that museum. Over the crest right here and down the hill you will have access to what's called the prisons of war. The prisons of war laid out as they were back in the 1700s, an incredibly immersive experience here in Edinburgh Castle, showing you what life would have been like if you were ever captured and held prisoner here. Many French sailors were captured out in the North Sea just before the start of the 7 Years' War. They were held prisoner here in the castle. You find many different nationalities. The Dutch were held here, Americans during the American War of Independence were held here, and even during World War II, a few German soldiers were held prisoner here in Edinburgh Castle as well. Going inside there, I'll give you a depiction as to what was offered to you as a ration, okay? Half a loaf of bread every day, half a pound of meat every day, 2 litres of beer every day as well, with some prisoners claiming that they were treated much nicer in this prison than they were actually being treated out there on their ships. But that's not to say that life in Edinburgh Castle was pleasant. It definitely wasn't. The most exposed part of the city, the worst of the city's winds and rain and sleet and snow would all blow through this place. It could be quite a miserable experience. Many people tried to escape Edinburgh Castle throughout the years as well, and as you go down to the prisons you'll notice there was a hole in the wall in the courtyard there where 49 prisoners attempted to escape. Out of the 49, 48 of them escaped. Just one guy didn't get away. Okay, some people claim he was the last one and they just caught him, but other people say actually they just forgot to wake him up and he woke up the next morning like... Anyway, the other person who tried to escape also wasn't so successful. It's a bit more of a tragic tale, okay, because you see, every single day taken out of the castle was what was called the dung cart. The dung cart would take all the human and household waste from the castle and take it down to Princes Street Gardens. Those gardens used to be a lake. It was called the Norwalk, where all the city's waste would end up. This one prisoner saw this happen every day and he thought to himself, you know what? It'll be horrible for like an hour, but I can get myself in the back of that, cover myself in all this waste, and then I'll be free. Terrible idea, because the one day he chose had to be the day the laziest person in the castle was given this job. He didn't bother to take the cart all the way into town. He took the cart to that wall over there and right over the edge. This poor guy disappears. Found the next day his body all mangled on the rocks and things like that. You know, it was a great idea, but maybe 1 out of 10 for execution. Probably not the right words to use there either. We're standing, the lesson is, look, don't try and escape from Edinburgh Castle. We're standing on what's called the Hawk Hill. The Hawk Hill is going to wind us round through this gate. This gate is called the Fuchs Gate, built in the 1600s, recognised as Edinburgh Castle's mass line of defence. If you made it this far in the castle, you still had to get through here. Walking through this gate, you'll see the iron hooks in the wall where you'll see the first set of doors where those doors are to hang from. You'll also see the walls here, space for the cannon, and also the guns to rest as well. As we make our way through here, the name Fug comes from the name Foggy, so the Foggy Gate. We get this big thick sea mist that sometimes come in called a har, H-A-A-R. It sits very low, so low in fact that this top part of the castle is above the fog line. So is the top of the hub, the church we walk past to get here, and also Arthur's Seat, the 3 things that stick up above the fog line here in Edinburgh Castle. So we're going to make our way through the Foggy Gate right now, find ourselves a space at the very top of the castle, and we're now entering what's known as the royal quarters of Edinburgh Castle. So let's get our way up here. Thank you. Actually, you know what, we'll probably lose it. That's how you do it. This whole top area is ourselves up here. Just shimmy right up, guys. Just get right up. We're going to be able to see everything. Here, I've seen all this before, so I don't have to be too high up. Right. Good news. No more climbing. We're at the top of the castle, okay? We made it. We're at the very top of the castle, the highest part in Edinburgh Castle, up the Hawk Hill, through the Fuchs Gate, and into an area here which is known as the Upper Ward.